Today I'm putting all the television characters from the greatest television show ever created into a tier list. But first,
I better call Saul! I better call Saul! Better call Saul! Better call Saul! Better call Saul!
Saul Goodman, attorney at law, 505.
Better call Saul.
Better call Saul! Better call Saul! Better call Saul! Better call... Better call Saul. Better call Saul. Better call Saul.
There we go.
Then you better call Saul.
So you better call Saul.
Or else. Better call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
You better call Saul.
alright, so I can sit here and tell you guys all the reasons why I love this show, etc. But nobody cares, right? Let's just do the fucking tier list. Alright, so typical categories S, A, B, C, and D. And I'm going to go through each character here in this tier list. Real quick disclaimer, when I do these, as far as the S tier goes, I don't like to put more than 5 characters up in the S tier. As you guys know, I fucking love this show. Otherwise, I wouldn't be doing this video. I could put everybody up in the S tier, or most people up in the S tier. I don't like to do that because it just kind of drowns out the specialness of that top tier. So you may see me put someone in there and then bring them back when I realize that I'm over the 5 with this show. I think it's probably pretty obvious who the 5 are, but I think I got a couple that are really going to surprise you. Might have a couple hot takes here. So let's start out right away here. We got Cliff Maine, the head of Davis and Maine. Cliff's a good fucking guy that was just caught in the crossfires of being involved with Jimmy McGill and Chuck McGill and Howard and all the shenanigans that go with that. Cliff always shone through. He was always a decent guy. He called Jimmy an asshole when it was time to call Jimmy an asshole. Cliff is going to go up in the B tier. All right, next, Betsy Kettleman. And as I'm doing this, guys, just a reminder, this is my list. All right, these are my opinions. But I would love to hear your opinions down in the comments section. So comment down below what I got right, what I got wrong, or who would be in your S tier. All right, Betsy Kettleman. Talk about a ridiculously crazy, over-the-top character. But she is entertaining as all hell. Love Betsy Kettleman. She's joining Cliff in the B tier. Next, we have Huel Babineau. Huel obviously started on Breaking Bad, and then he came back in Better Call Saul in, I believe, season 3 because he was heavily involved in the episode Chicanery. But Huel's a great character. He actually had a better role, I think, on Better Call Saul than Breaking Bad, which is the opposite of another character or two that I'm going to get into. But Huel is decent. I'm going to also, I don't know if I want to put him in the B tier. I think we're going to put Huel in the C tier. Because most of the stuff with Huel involved kind of Jimmy's relationship with Huel and Jimmy and Kim's schemes to get Huel out of trouble. So he joins himself, actually, in the C tier. All right, next it looks like we have Bill Oakley. Obviously, he was in the first episode, kind of a little bit of an opposite point for Jimmy to negotiate with when he is starting in public defense work, right? And then obviously he plays a big role in the final episode, has some good comedic scenes in the final episode. Bill Oakley, you are going to join the rest of them in the B tier. You're going to join Kettleman and Maine. All right, next we have the man everyone loves to hate, Chuck McGill, Jimmy's older brother. My God, what can you say about Chuck? He's a villain, yes, in this show, but is he really? Everything he said about Jimmy, everything he was worried about with Jimmy ended up coming true. But it came true because Chuck kind of made it happen by not believing in him. It's the chicken and the egg here. And for Chuck, it was kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. And talk about just a complicated character. One of the most bizarre characters you'll ever see in a television show, especially the way we're introduced to him with his EMS disorder, and we think he's on Jimmy's side, and you realize he's been working against Jimmy. My God, I could talk about Chuck all day. I hate him, yes, but he's complicated. And Chuck is going all the way in the S tier because he is a fantastic character. All right, next it looks like we have Juan Bolsa, kind of the contact between Gus and the cartel and the Salamancas and the cartel. Let me just get this right out of the way. Juan Bolsa sucks as a fucking character. He's terrible. One of the worst characters in the show. He's useless. He's pointless. I wish Nacho would have blown his brains out. Juan, I'm sorry. You're in the D tier. Next, we have the veterinarian, it looks like. This is a guy that's tough to rank because he's so involved in the criminal underworld, but he's just kind of, a contact for people. He's a contact of a contact, right? And he's obviously the one that gives Jimmy the little black book, which contains the business card of the vacuum salesman. So he is important, but he's always in the background. We're going to put him up in the C tier. Next we have, who the fuck is this? Is this one of the mules that Lalo killed? I can't tell. Oh, no, I think it's, this is the guy, this is the kind of Lalo did kill him, but it's kind of one of the German engineers, the guy with the big mouth. He's going to go in the D tier as well. Wasn't very entertaining. Yes, he played a role. He helped Lalo. He had a good fight with Lalo. And he was kind of a dick to Mike. I love that, by the way, when he tells Mike, he deserved it, blah, 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 and Mike just punches him in the face. Just a great scene. But he's a shitty character. He goes in the D tier. Speaking of Mike, we have Mike right here. Where to put Mike? The initial reaction is S tier, right? But like I said, I'm only going to have 5 people in the S tier. Should Mike be one of those 5? I mean, absolutely. Abso-fucking-lutely he should. When they brought Mike on to a show, a prequel, about Saul Goodman, you knew you were going to have some cartel stuff. And, just seeing Mike's transformation from beat cop to who he became in Breaking Bad was fascinating, even though it was very subtle. It was subtly done. You could see in seasons 1 and 2, and even 3 for that matter, until the Werner Ziegler thing, Mike was not the same character that he was in Breaking Bad. It was just subtle, and I like that. Next we have Kim Wexler. Kim Wexler started out as kind of a nobody in the first 2 episodes, someone that Jimmy knew, and it became as much her show as it was Saul Goodman and Mike Ehrmantraut. Kim goes all the way up in the S tier. She just was fascinating to see, her kind of break bad a little bit too. But she was also a lot more layered with that. She felt bad, and it was really destructive to see, and it was hard to watch her turn the way she did and her make these stupid decisions and ruin her life because of her relationship with Jimmy, and just all the things she should have done. It was just kind of heartbreaking to see. I'm glad we didn't see her die, but it was almost worse to see her morals and values destroyed as we got to season 5 and 6 and etc. So yeah, Kim Wexler, obviously in the S tier. Next, we have the twins. Let me tell you guys something. The twins are a fan favorite in Breaking Bad. People loved them in Better Call Saul. They're fucking worthless. They're useless. How they didn't manage to kill Hank without a gun is ridiculous. They just stand around and show up. When Nacho's evading them, they are, they're shooting right at him and missing. They're not intimidating. They're stupid. The twins suck. Speaking of suck, Craig Kettleman. Kind of like Betsy, right? He's a kind of an over-exaggerated character. He's a pussy. His wife runs the show, etc. But he's entertaining, right? He's not Betsy Kettleman entertaining, but he's C-tier entertaining for me. All right, time to dodge the bullets. Gus Fring. We're talking about just Better Call Saul right now, not Breaking Bad. If this was Breaking Bad, he'd be up in the S tier. But this is not Breaking Bad. This is Better Call Saul. And as great as it was to see Gus, And it was great, and there was a lot of interesting stuff. It was nice seeing, how he kind of started and getting more backstory into him and his, relationship with Hector Salamanca. I liked all that, but I think it kind of ruined the mystique of him that we had in Breaking Bad. So Gus, I love him as a character, but I cannot put him any higher than the B tier here. Not even A tier for me. I know for a lot of people he'd be S tier, but I thought they kind of they didn't ruin his character, but they came awful close to ruining his character. But it led to a lot of other stuff, so it's hard. But Gus, B tier for me. Next, Howard Hamlin. My God, if you would have told me, watching Howard in the first few episodes and throughout season 1, and beginning of season 2, that I would have been as devastated as I was with what happened to Howard, I would have said, you're fucking nuts. They did such a good job with him, making him multi-layered, multifaceted, complicated character who was just caught between brothers. All he wanted to do was run a goddamn business. But he ended up dead. Howard, great character, ends up in the A tier, our first member. Next, we have Price. Talk about entertaining. He's over the top, just like Betsy Kettleman. He's entertaining as well. He just, when he's got that Hummer, it's great. His baseball cards, squat cobbler shit. Price is going up in the A tier because he's a fun ass character. All right, next we have, who is that? Is that Crazy 8? Domingo? It was nice to get a little more with him, Obviously, he was killed in the, second episode of Breaking Bad, right? It was nice to see more of him. How he got his nickname, kind of stupid, but whatever. He's going to go into C tier because he's kind of just blah in this. Next, we got part of the film crew. Is that Drama Girl, I think? The whole film crew's decent. She is gonna go in the C tier as well. Next we have, is that Erin from Davis and Maine, I believe. Yep, Erin was okay. She was kind of a foil for Jimmy while he was trying to get in the corporate world and realizing he doesn't fit and realizing he has to follow the rules. And she's on his ass the whole time because Cliff wanted her on his ass. She kind of sucked. We're gonna put her in the D tier. Next we have Ernesto, another guy that did not deserve to be treated the way he was by Chuck. A good, loyal friend to Jimmy. Kim and Ernesto were kind of the people that were always kind to Jimmy, especially people at HHM. So, Ernesto, wish we would have got more of you. You're in the fucking A tier, man. Can't believe they have this character in there. This is Mr. Can't remember his name. He's the guy with the house that Kim and him were going back and forth on, doing the right thing, etc. A bank's trying to take over his house. They somehow made that interesting. He's just a stubborn old man. He was a necessary character to get Kim to start thinking about where she, should kind of have her life go, even though she did a fucking 180 on that. He was decent enough. We'll put him in the C tier. Next, we have Jimmy's assistant at Davis and Maine again. D tier. He's okay, but very unmemorable. Okay. Next, we got Francesca. She was great in Breaking Bad. It was nice to see her start out in this show being a positive person. She used to work at the DMV, etc. So it was nice to see her. And then, just a few years working for Jimmy. Starts out working for Kim too, Kim and Jimmy. But a few years working for Jimmy, and she just, her life just fucking shattered. I thought she was interesting enough, but we're going to put her in the C tier. Next, we have Tio, a.k.a. Hector Salamanca. We got to see a lot of his backstory in this. Some of it we saw in Breaking Bad. He shot Gus's boyfriend, Max, their business partner, whatever the fuck you want to call it. But we saw a little more of him, and we saw how much of a fucking dickhead he is. Big time in this show. And he played it very well. I thought The Hector Gus stuff was great in this. He belongs right next to Gus in the B tier. Oh, next we have the old lady that Jimmy started out with an Alpine Shepherd boy to get into elder law. What the hell is her name? I can't think of her name. But at the end of season 2, I believe, when Jimmy tries to get all her friends to turn against her, it's heartbreaking stuff. It is heartbreaking stuff. And that's probably, there's a couple moments in the show where you really hate Jimmy, and that might be up at the top, because that was a douchebag move just to get his settlement of the Sandpiper case, and it was terrible what he did to her. She's going to go in the B tier. Next, we have more characters from the video club or whatever the hell, the commercials that Jimmy shot. You know, you can go right in the C tier. They're good characters, but they're not very memorable. Speaking of, we have another character. Oh, this was the asshole, I think, from the German crew. Yeah, this guy was a douche. We're gonna put him in the D tier. Like I said, entertaining enough, but fine. Okay. Next, we have Kevin Wattel. Kevin's kind of he's an interesting character, right? He starts out with Kim, then goes back to HHM, and then goes back to Kim, and then throughout Kim's tenure, as she's helping Mesa Verde, expand all over the southwest, I should say. You see more of Kevin, and you see kind of how he ticks. And I like the guy. He's, he believes in Kim, etc. Sometimes he doesn't listen to Kim. He's a stubborn guy, but he's himself. And, he doesn't put up with anyone's bullshit. I love his meeting with Jimmy in the parking garage after Jimmy sandbags Kim and, fucking just goes nuts on him. I like that stuff. I thought Kevin Wattel is a very good character, and he belongs up in the A tier. All right, next we have Nacho's father. Can't remember his name. Heartbreaking character because he's just a good, solid guy. Just a good, solid guy. That speech he has to Mike, kind of confirming to Mike that he's a thug. He's just like all the rest. You have your honor, blah, blah, blah. You're just a fucking thug. I love that. He's going to go in the B tier. Next, we have a character. Oh, that's the nail salon lady. She's entertaining enough. She's going in the C tier. I mean, I don't know what else you can say about her, but she's pretty entertaining. Speaking of not entertaining, though, is one of Gus's henchmen here. It's not Victor, it's the other guy. This guy. No, that's not Gus's henchman. That is Hector's henchman. Same fucking thing. He's the guy, is that Artero? He gets his, he's the guy that Gus takes the plastic bag. That's the best Gus scene, I think, in this show, is when Gus takes that plastic bag and makes Nacho watch. That is a good fucking scene. But he's sucky. He's going in the D tier. Next, we have Paige. She worked with Kevin Wattel and helped Kim get the job at Mesa Verde. She had some good scenes. She's a solid, normal character. She can go in the C tier. We'll throw her in the C tier here. Next, we have Chuck's wife, Rebecca. She's only in a couple episodes, flashback episode, and then she comes for Chuck's trial, urged on by Jimmy. She plays an important part in that. But she, is she the reason for Chuck's mental disorder, EMS, after their divorce? I don't know. That's where the complicated stuff gets in. Rebecca's a fine character. She can join the other fine characters in the C tier. Next, we have Jimmy McGill, a.k.a. Saul Goodman, a.k.a. Gene Takovic. And you guys know where he belongs. All the way up in the A tier. He might be my favorite television character of all time. And, I could sit here and talk about Jimmy for hours, but I'll just say this. Knowing who he was in Breaking Bad, and then seeing the first few episodes of Better Call Saul and how he wanted to be this lawyer for, the respect of his brother, etc., and he wanted to do the right thing, but for various reasons, some outside, some internal, he was never going to be that. And just knowing that he was going to turn into this douchebag that we saw in Breaking Bad was just heartbreaking to watch. Even though you knew it was going to happen, you wanted to root for it not to happen, but you knew it was inevitable. So I could talk all day about it. But Jimmy's obviously in the S tier. We only have one S tier member left. All right. Next, we have Rich Schweigert from Schweigert and Coakley. I think it's Schweigert and Coakley, the law firm. Just like Cliff Main, he is a good guy. He runs a mean business. He's got a swanky ass office building. Rich is great. I actually like him better than Cliff Main, and I like Cliff Main, but Rich is going up in the A tier. He's a good character, and I love the way he interacted with Kim. When he knew what Kim was doing, called her out on it, and said, "How about the less said, the better." And she goes off on him. He takes it, and then she apologizes, and he asks her out to lunch, and he wants the whole office to see that they bury the hatchet. He's a guy you would want to work for, so I like him. Next, we have Lalo Salamanca. My God, what a character. My God, I don't even have to think about this. He is in the S tier. And yes, that's way higher than Gus Fring, I see. Two tiers higher than Gus Fring. But Lalo is great in this. He is great in this. And Gus is great in Breaking Bad, too. And he's good in this show. Lalo, I might like him better. It depends on the day. But Lalo is just so charming, so unpredictable. It's crazy how good he is. So I could talk about Lalo for a long time too, but my God, he is a guy that you want to have a beer with, and a guy that you'd be terrified is going to shoot you in the fucking head. Sorry, Howard. All right, next we got another member from the film crew. Going to join the others in the C tier. Next, we have Stacy, Mike's daughter-in-law. Stacy sucks. She sucks. She's part of the reason Mike went to the dark side, because she's always, subtly asking him for money, but not really, and I didn't like her character, although I liked her better than Kaylee. Kaylee was a whiny brat, but anyway, I digress. Stacy, not a fan of her. She goes in the D tier. Next, we have Tyrus, obviously in Breaking Bad as well. I've never been a Tyrus guy, ever. He's kind of a shitty character. He's not bad. But even the shitty characters here in the D list are fine characters. I'm just trying to balance it out a little bit. All right, now we have Nacho. I really want to put Nacho in the S tier, but following my own rules, I already have 5 characters in the S tier, and I don't know which of those 5 I could possibly knock out. So Nacho is in the A tier. Another character started out a little different in Better Call Saul. He's very intimidating in like the second or third episode, and then you see how he just wants out of the game. He wants out, and he's under Hector's thumb, and he takes care of that, but then he's under Gus's thumb, and you just want him to escape, but he just couldn't, and he has to, shoot himself in the head to save his father. Nacho's a fantastic character. Any other show, he'd be all the way in the A tier, or in the S tier, but this show is so good, it's already filled up. All right, next we have Victor. Victor will go in the C tier. He's a little more interesting than some of the other thugs, henchmen I've been talking about, and maybe that's just because the box cutter scene from Breaking Bad. But Victor, he can go in the C tier. And next we have what the hell is her name? Kim's assistant. I had her name. That's okay. She's going in the C tier as well, because I don't think she's a shitty character at all. Is it Violet or Viola? Viola, that's it. Yeah, she's a fine character. Only in the show a little bit, but Kim got some valuable information from her, etc., etc. And finally, we have Werner Ziegler. Southwall. Werner Ziegler. Werner Ziegler. Fascinating character. Obviously only in season 4, and he is, kind of the straw that broke the camel's back as far as Mike not turning back when Mike and him became friends, and Mike is telling him, don't do this, you don't know who you're messing with. Werner didn't believe him until it was too late, and then he knew Mike had no choice but to shoot him in the back of the head. And luckily for Mike, he was a nice guy about it, said he'll go look at the sky. But Werner Ziegler, I'm actually putting in the A tier. just because of how important he was. So, that is my tier list for characters on Better Call Saul. Like I said, I am a huge fan of this show. I think it's probably my favorite show of all time because there's so many different multifaceted layers to this universe, especially when you include Breaking Bad, etc. But I'm a Better Call Saul guy. I think it's fantastic. So, like I said, in the comments, let me know what I got right, what I got wrong, where you would put certain characters. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.